Rev up your engines!
Well, I was just watching some propaganda on CNBC, and here's the headline. Biden's Inflation Reduction Act makes green hydrogen profitable at scale. And they were quoting Goldman Sachs, the investment people, right? Let's get in the real world, not this financial BS world where they're all trying to make money sitting on their fat behinds doing nothing except pushing buttons on a computer and betting which stock will go up and which stock will go down. In the short run, you can get things to start up, but realize this is all government subsidies. And I saw the same thing in Houston decades ago. A customer of mine ran a business that was a recycling business. They were recycling tires, car tires. Now, it's very hard to recycle car tires because most of them have steel belts. So you have steel, but you also have rubber. And they're compounded and heated and bonded together, right? So they got all kinds of government subsidy. It turns out that the subsidy was over 2 times what it cost them to make the stuff. So they were making a profit because the government was subsidizing it. They had to get the rubber tires, then they had to cryogenically freeze them using liquid nitrogen. So then when they're hard, then the machine that crunches on them, it would shatter, and then the steel and the rubber would be all shattered up, and then when they went through a magnet, since steel has iron in it, it would pick up the metal parts to recycle, and the rubber parts would stay on the ground, and they'd use them for making those kids' playgrounds and for making shingles and for making fence posts that wouldn't rot when you put them in the ground. But here's the problem. Every product that they made was the most expensive one in its class. And the only reason it worked was because the government was subsidizing. As soon as years later, the government subsidies went away, so did its company. It went bankrupt because it wasn't profitable. Government propping up things that don't work is not a solution to anything in the long run. In the short run, yeah, you can start things up and do them. But in the long run, it just isn't, because they're propping up unsustainable propositions. Just like they had that big set of mirrors. If you fly from the East Coast to the West Coast and go over Nevada, you will see in the desert these giant mirrors. And they spent over $1 billion building this thing. We're going to make all kinds of power using the mirrors and going to a big tower, and then that would make electricity, and it was a cycled system, so the heat was taken off and made electricity. You go back down, it would heat it up again, right? They built the thing. And then they found out they were actually losing money. They actually generated less money than it took them to operate the system, so they shut it down. There's $1 billion something dollars peed down the toilet, right? Now, if the government keeps subsidizing these things that don't work economically, it's plain stupid. You need to find systems that work on their own, not ones that need all the subsidies, because when the subsidies are gone, guess what happens? It all falls down because it's not economically viable. Phil Torscombe says, why do hybrid cars hum so loudly? Well, because hybrid cars have regular engines, and they also have electric motors. And the electric motors hum. That's what they do. They hum. You got a gasoline engine and you have an electric motor, and then they're attached to the same CVT transmission. They tend to hum even more than the electric cars. The electric cars are all electric, so they're a little bit different. It just turns out that the hybrids, they generally tend to hum because the electric motors that they have, and that's set up with the CVT transmission, they generally tend to hum. It doesn't hurt anything, but yes, they are kind of hummy cars. A lot of people, they'll just turn the radio up a bit louder if they're driving one, if they own one, if they don't like the noise. Mike says that it's possible to swap out a Jatco transmission of an '06 Nissan Titan for a different brand of transmission. Well, unfortunately, it's made for the Jatco transmission. There's not anything that's really going to fit. Now, anybody can modify whatever they want. They can do all kinds of modifications, but it costs a small fortune. I do have to say, though, the Titans, right? They're rear-wheel drive. The rear-wheel drive Jatco transmissions aren't that bad in those trucks. It's the front-wheel drive Jatco transmissions that are crap. The ones they put in trucks that are rear-wheel drive, they're not that bad. The ones that are in the Nissan, say the 370Zs, those are rear-wheel drive too. Those transmissions aren't that bad. It's the front-wheel drive Jatcos that are really bad. I wouldn't go to the trouble of trying to hook something else on them because they're not that bad, and modifying it would be an insane deal. It's just like some guy say, oh, I don't like this automatic. I'm going to put a standard transmission. All the stuff you have to modify to put a standard transmission, it's not worth the work. Jared says, hey, my dad gave me a 1969 Cougar orange. What do you think about these? Well, I'm not a fan of orange cars. I had an orange Mustang for a week, and I love the car, but I hated the color. Although I stopped at a stop line once, and a girl rolled the window. Oh, I love the color. I couldn't stand it, but I didn't buy it. I was just road testing it, right? The Cougars were basically, believe it or not, they were actually higher above than the Mustang. specs. They had more chrome and stuff on them, and they're basically a Mustang, but called a Cougar with a little bit different bodies. They're starting to become collector's items, so I hope it's not rusted and it's good shape. Keep it stocked. One day it might be worth a lot of money. I mean, people used to buy those things for $4 or $5 grand. Now I see people spending 20, 30,000 or more for the things because all the Mustangs are so expensive, and since it's basically a Mustang anyways, that the price of the Cougars is going up too, and it might be worth some money someday. Lutzvale says, what do you think of a 2010 Honda Civic GX with CNG and natural gas? I found with less than 30,000 miles. If it was made correctly, so it runs on CNG correctly, the engines actually last longer because CNG, compressed natural gas, gas is already random, so you don't have to worry about injector spraying fuel to make it all random spray, so it's all exactly the same, all inside the cylinder. It already is. It's gas, right? If it's set up right, it'll last longer. Now, if it's some kind of weird conversion kit, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. You don't know if they converted it right. But they tried to make CNG popular in the United States years ago, but then somewhere around Chicago, there's a big wreck with a guy in a commercial truck, hit a family, and then the tanks blew up on the CNG, and they were all killed, and big suit, and the insurance companies jacked up the prices to insure one. And that was kind of it for CNG in the United States. So, I mean, really, the price of natural gas is getting just as expensive as regular gasoline. I don't know if you're really saving anything, and it's a hassle getting a CNG. But on the other hand, if you live in Europe where it's readily available, yeah, go for it. Well, you knew it was bound to happen. Tesla shares are starting to drop. Cheaper electric cars are now coming to the market. Realize one thing. Tesla was not started by Elon Musk. It was a company originally, which he bought, and their philosophy was making a few luxury electric vehicles. Then he bought it and decided he was going to sell them to everybody. Well, everybody that had a lot of money. Well, of course, people are going to buy ones that cost less. Throughout the history of automobiles, it's always the lowest priced models that sell the most because people only have a certain amount of money. They would rather spend less than more, right? For example, in 2020, Teslas were 79% of the U.S. electric cars. But in the last 3 quarters of 2022, it was 65%. It's going down. Of course, it's still a very small amount of the cars that people drive are mainly driving internal combustion engine cars. So today there's actually 48 different companies out there selling electric cars, right? And they say by 2025 it's going to be 159. Now, I think that's kind of optimistic because I think a bunch of the companies that have been created or go bankrupt, a bunch of them are pretty close to bankruptcy now. Building cars is a relatively expensive endeavor. You can't come in with nickels and dimes and think you're going to be able to make cars from scratch. People may not even like them. You might not know what you're doing. A lot of investors have been suckered into throwing money, good money after bad, in companies like take the Elio, which was the 3-wheel car this guy was going to make in Shreveport, Louisiana. He got a bunch of money backing him, and he's never built a single production car, just models. And every year he says next year, next year, next year. Now he's talking about making electric versions instead of internal combustion engines, but I doubt if any of it's ever going to come to fruition. These guys are just living in dreamland. Just like old Elon's living in dream. I can keep charging more money. What the heck? People are buying the things. Let's keep raising the prices. Well, that era of electric cars is now gone. The people that wanted them, they had a lot of money, got them. A lot of them, and I've met them here on the East Coast, said, that's the last electric car I ever buy. I don't like it, but they have it, and they're going to use it until they get tired of it and get something else. So the novelty is starting to wear off. The reality of you can't drive long range easily in them is coming up, and people don't like it. The cold weather, loss of range, especially here in the Northeast, they don't like that either. And of course, more competition is going to make it harder for them to be the largest guy out there. And so far this year, 2022, Tesla stock has about cut itself in half. People are realizing, hey, this isn't the great future, the gold rush in California where we all get rich. No. And his wealth is rapidly declining in terms of stock value, that's for sure. And of course, some of it just has to do with the quality. I met a guy here who bought himself an Audi electric car. And he said, I looked at the Teslas, they looked like crap, they rode like crap. I got in the Audi, it was a luxury car, it looked beautiful, it rode good. It was so much better than the Tesla, I bought the Audi. Now, I wouldn't buy either myself, but if you're going for quality, Tesla isn't the quality company. It just isn't made that well. You think you can sell things for a lot of money that aren't made well. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but eventually, most of the people will wise up and they won't buy it. And then, as I said, the stock's down 50% or so this year. People are realizing, oh, gee, maybe that wasn't the gold rush where we all get rich and now looking for something else. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.